Hello, Vindi here. Let's quickly look at the US30 as promised. Okay, as promised right here. Maybe, I don't know, should I dive straight right to it? Okay, let me maybe give you some few tips. Suppose you have a dynamic structure like this, right? Dynamic structure like this. What we can do is, of course, when we use structures like this, the moving average, we want to trend trade, we want to trend right this shandies, okay? So this is the same as you mooring trend lines. So if you, let's say we have an uptrend, for example, let's say we have something like this. Let me see if I can moor it like this one to the upside, okay? And we mark a trend line just right here. What we want to do is to trade, take a trade, a buy trade every time price comes back to that particular structure. So buyers are willing to buy cheap. That is what I'm actually saying. So every time price comes back to hit that structure, this is where buyers are actually going to take a trade or look for opportunities to trade as price moves to the upside. All right, that's what trend traders will do in an uptrend. Of course, when we have a downtrend right here, so this one's gonna be weird. Let me draw it. I know it's weird. It's not how the charts move. Let's say we have something of this nature around here. Sellers, of course, they will be willing to sell high at a much higher price. Okay, every time price comes back to the trend line or come back to the that particular structure, they are actually going to look for an opportunity. So if price was to come back to this, let's see if we can moor it like this. Let's say price comes back like this, sellers right there will start looking for opportunities up there as it approaches that particular structure. That's how you trend trade. So they'll look for a downward move like this. Okay, and buyers, remember what I said, buyers will buy low, maybe somewhere right there, pushing back to the upside. Okay, just like that, so that sellers later on can push price back down. Does that make sense? That's how you trend trade. So right here, if we have this dynamic structure, this is where buyers are actually going to look for opportunities to buy. It's the same as a trend line. That is why I brought this thing. So buyers are going to be active on this green belt right here. So if I moor a trend line, it's the same. The trend line could be below or could be above that particular green belt. Okay, and similar to this one right here, we're looking at the downward move. This is where sellers will be looking to actually sell. Okay, so that's a very nice and this why to see start riding, why to see start riding. That's just some few tips when it comes to trend riding, whether you trend ride the US30 or you trend ride any other assets. It could be Nasdaq, your VIX and whatnot, round about that. So I thought I should maybe give you these few tips, especially when you're a beginner. This is something that you can look out for, maybe do a research around it. So I wanna riding. Should I dive straight? Yes, let's start here on the weekly. If you look at this green structure right there on the weekly, this is the weekly chart. Of course, if you look at this green structure, it's a little bit far away from where price is. And if you've watched the Nasdaq video, you will see that I spoke about this yesterday. But overall, we're in an uptrend, as you can see by that arrow. So what can we do? Let's see if we can draw structures. Here's the trend line. Like I said before, that the trend line can move alongside the green structure. So you can see the trend line is moving. Another trend line is up here. Of course, this will be our resistance trend line, right? That is our resistance trend line. So this is just a dotted resistance trend line. The reason I'm saying dotted is because on the next time frame we're still going to refer to this trend line. Right here we have our support, which is basically the green belt, these green lines that you're seeing below the trend line and right there. Okay, and that particular trend line, but it is far away from where price is. So for now, let's opt for the dotted. Remember, the dotted trend line is what we're gonna opt for. Here I'm on the daily chart, obviously. So if I look at that, let me make room a bit. So if I look at that, those structures that are highlighted, let me start right here by mooring this dotted trend line. As I said, this is why I said we're gonna need it. That's the same trend line that you saw from the previous time frame, and another trend line will be moving right here. It's up to you which one you want to use, but notice how they are sort of meeting in one area up there. These are both resistance trend lines, and you know that sellers are actually active on this particular particular area right there. So this is the sellers area. Does it make sense? And they're meeting right there on that second. Okay, so that's where sellers are gonna be. So another trend line will be this particular one, which is giving us structures for buyers. Okay, so this is a buy sort of a region where buyers are most likely to look for opportunities around somewhere there. And look at that green belt, it's actually alongside the trend line. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're a price action trader or use indicators, you most likely to see the same shandies. All right, so around there, this is exactly where we could see this buyers pushing to and sellers later coming, bringing back price down. Or you can choose this particular level right there. Okay, makes sense? Makes sense? We could see that move to the upside, okay, followed by this particular move all the way to the downside, back to the green level. That's green belt that you see around this particular area. That is where buyers are going to be active, because remember, initially I said buyers comes from a much cheaper price. They want to buy cheap and sellers want to sell high. So if price goes back, we could see sellers. This is where buyers are gonna be, even if price doesn't go up. But if it comes down here, we know that we're gonna look for opportunities to buy. Easy stuff, right? So if we move to the next, of course, the next time frame, I don't know, maybe did you more alike before I continue? Did you more alike? Chana, like it, man, like it. Okay, here's the H4 right here. So this particular guy right there, it is again a little bit nicer if you are focusing on it. This will be our resistance structure right there, resistance level. And down here, let me maybe pick these 2 points, this one and this one. We can move a nice line there. Can we do that? Let me move a dotted line. This will be our support, and you can see that this support is far, right? This will be our support, and another support will be here, because right now we're above it, but that will be the minor one. This one is the support, this one right here is the minor one, the one in the middle, and another one will be this particular area, which we can find a resistance. So we can move a resistance around this particular point. If price breaks out of that, it's most likely to come back and maybe retest that particular resistance. This is the resistance that I'm talking about, in case it didn't say that. This is the resistance that I'm talking about, right? So we could see those sellers on the major resistance, the one that is up there, coming back down. Okay, that's a possibility. Like I said, you need to understand that what happens on the resistance, what happens on support. And price could continue further from here. It could break out of this mini support that we are seeing here and push probably to that lower side, which is the major support down there. We could see this sort of a shandy happening, but remember, on that support, that is where buyers reside. Easy as that. Was that difficult? Was that difficult? This is the minor structure again, and then the other one is also minor, because we're looking at those two major structures that are nicely spaced. I hope it makes sense. I'm not sure if it does. Does it need any help? Does it? Did you understand? I hope you did. Okay, I hope you did. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Drop me a comment, let me know. Maybe let me drop some few tips before I go, what I do in a day. So what I do, guys, what I don't do is I don't use a phone to trade. I trade on a computer always, and a computer that cannot move, because I need to be in one space in order for me to plan my trades, execute my trades, do everything in order. So I don't trade when I'm on the road or anything, so I need to be sitting down in my trading room, trading station, just like that, preparing nicely. But of course, that lady that's standing there, I don't know what's going on. Yay, lady, what are you doing there? Yes, that's a tip. I actually trade on an actual computer that does not move. Of course, you don't have to have a fancy trading station like multiple screens in this case, which I do, but that doesn't determine the profitability or anything. All right, is that cool? Otherwise, ship. See you again on Wednesday. I'll drop another video on Wednesday. Otherwise, say thank you for watching.